Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be doing a 3-in-1 mini robot vehicle by Raven. So this is a do-it-yourself kit. So here is a QR code where you can scan the QR code and you will be directly linked to their YouTube channel, and you can see the making of the video. And here is the components. There are many components in this box. So if you purchase this box, there are three advantages and 3-in-1 robot you can build it. So the three types of robot are, here you can see there is an obstacle avoiding robot, a detection robot, and a line following robot. So let's build it. So first let's open the seal. So comes with this packing. So after taking off the thermocol, you will be given with the manual. So this manual is called as a circuit diagram. So later in the video we will be teaching you how to read the circuit diagram and how to build the robot. So this is the circuit diagram of a line following robot and an obstacle avoiding robot and an edge detection robot. So today we are going to do line following robot. So let's keep this aside and let's start building the robot. So here is a circuit diagram of an electric part. So for the mechanical part, what you have to do is see on the box. As you can see, you need to build it like this. So this thing is here is a line following robot. So we'll be teaching you how to do a line following robot first. So let's take out the components. These two are IR sensors. These are jumper wires. These are called female to male jumper wires. As you can see, one side is negative and one side is as the positive one. So this thing is called female to male jumper wires. These are called wheels. These are called female to female jumper wires. As you can see, they both are receiving side. So this is called a female to female jumper cable. And you will be provided with a breadboard on an IC, and you will be having a motor driving kit. So in this package you will be having a 9-volt adapter, battery adapter, a caster wheel and screws. Finally you will be having a chassis, two battery operated motors, a 11-volt strip and a battery inside this. So that's it in the box. So let's keep the box aside. Let's start to build. So here we are doing a line following robot. So to do this line following robot, we need a circuit diagram. So this here is called a circuit diagram. So let's see what are the required components to build a line following robot. So for the line following robot, we have left motor, right motor, we require a battery, we require a motor driving module, we require two IR sensors and few jumper cables. So this thing here is connected through jumper wires. We'll be teaching you how to connect through a jumper cables. So now let's begin to build. So let's see what all the items we need. We need a battery, we need a caster wheel, we need screws, we need battery adapters, we need BO motors, we need 11-volt strip, we need a chassis, we need two IR sensors, we'll be needing a motor driving board and not the breadboard over here. So let's take the motor driving board and keep the breadboard aside. We'll be needing the wheels, we'll be needing the cables. So let's start building. Now remove the IR sensors from the packet and keep it aside. So the first thing what you have to do is take out the caster wheels and the screws out. So you'll be provided with 5 screws. 2 will be the longer screws which is used to connect the BO motors. So the other one is to connect, the smaller one is to connect the caster wheel, and the other one is to connect the 7-hole strip. Motor, place it like this, and as you can see it fits through this hole. Push it to the other side, take a screw and tighten it up. Do this on both the ends the same way. Take a longer screw, put it through the BO motor and tighten it up. So it should not wobble like this, so make it pretty tight. Use a screwdriver provided in the box and to tighten it up. So now take the caster wheel. You have to push this thing out to remove the cap, and here you can see 3 holes. So take the medium screw and we need to fit it right here. So take the screw, place it like this, push it through this hole and tighten it up. So once done, it should look like this. So place the cap on top of this thing. So here you can see the basic chassis of a line following robot. So for this what you have to do is add wheels. So while adding wheels, make sure it fits properly. So if the tire doesn't fit properly, what you have to do is put a little bit of glue over here and push the wheel inside like this. So after building the chassis, the entire chassis should look something like this. So after building the chassis, the next step is the electric connections. So the electric connections consist of a motor driving module. So take a double-sided tape, cut it to the required proportions and stick on top of this thing. So after sticking the double-sided tape, take the motor driving module and place it over here like this. So you should face in such a way that the battery support should be given to this side and the motor connection should be on the sides. So take the ends of the motor and connect it to the motor driving IC. Place the wire inside and tighten it up. Do the same thing for the other side also. The same wires, the 2 wires have to be connected to this 2 thing. So the next thing is take the battery adapter and connect it to the input power supply. So here, as you can see, the input power supply, you can see a plus mark over here. So the plus mark here indicates positive and the minus mark over here indicates negative. So we need to connect red wire to positive and the black wire to negative. So let's connect. Make sure only the metal part contacts the metal part, and don't push it to do too hard inside, so that the rubber part here comes in contact with this thing. So if the rubber part comes in contact with this thing, it won't work properly. So make sure only the metal part gets connected. So after connecting the battery adapter, the next thing what we have to do is connect a 11-volt strip. So keep the 11-volt strip into center, so that the thing comes in center. So here you will be provided with 3 holes, so you can connect it in any one hole. Take a screw and tighten it up. So make sure it's equal on both the sides. Say 3 holes over here and 3 holes over here, so it's in the center. So what we have to do is place a screw like this and tighten it up. So fit it properly like this. So your line following robot looks something like this. So the next thing is we need to take the IR sensors and connect it. Let's open the IR sensors. So these are the IR sensors taken out of the packet. So the IR sensors looks like this. So take an IR sensor and we need to connect the IR sensors like this. So to connect it like this, we'll be using two-sided tape. So let's take the two-sided tape and cut it into equal portions. So take the tape like this, stick it like this, take another IR sensor and stick the tape like this. So peel off the other side and stick like this. The gap between these two things is left to you. So if you put the line bigger, make the IR sensor go wide. If you put the line smaller, make the IR sensor go closer. So here I will be using a medium line, so I will be placing the IR sensor on the second hole. Do the same thing on the other side also. Peel off the thing and place it in the second hole. Make sure the IR sensor doesn't touch the paper like this. It should not touch like this. So if it's touching like this, peel it again, place it a little bit above the paper surface. So next comes the connection part. For this, the main thing you require is the jumper cables. So what you have to do is look at the connections properly. So in this diagram, you are shown to connect a IR sensor plus 5 volts ground to the plus 5 volts and ground, and the output from the IR sensor is connected to the motor driving module. So let me tell you what a positive 5 volts and a ground is. Pins given over here, one is output, one is ground, and one is VCC. You can clearly see in this thing. So now let's give the connection. VCC here defines plus 5 volts and ground is the negative 5 volts. So let's begin the connection. Here in the IR sensor you have a male pin, and here on the board also you have the male pin. So what we are going to use is a female to female jumper wire. Here is a motor driving module. So as you can see, we are giving the input through this pin and the motors are connected to these two pins. So now this here has a 10 pin which has 5 positive pins and 5 negative pins, and give it to the motor driving module. So let's do the connection. So as here in the IR sensor you can see VCC and ground. As I already mentioned, VCC is plus 5 volts and ground is negative 5 volts. Take a pin, push it like this inside, and this becomes a VCC wire. Take this wire and connect to the VCC or the plus 5 volts of the motor driving module. You can connect it to in any one of the pins in the entire row. So I'm connecting over here. So then I take the next cable and it has a ground pin over it. So ground represents negative 5 volts. We can connect it to the negative 5 volts in the board. So connect it to the negative 5 volts of the board. Do the same thing on the other IR sensor also. The connection of IR sensor is done. Positive and negative is given. So the next thing over here is you can see the third pin going out to the motor driving module. So the third pin over here is the output, IR output. So as you can see, the third pin is written output. So we need to take the pin from there on both the IR sensors. On both the IR sensors, and these two wires represent the IR output pin. So as you can see, the motor driving module looks like this. So turn the robot like this and make sure the motor driving module looks the exact from your side. So as you can see, this one is IR sensor 2 and this one is IR sensor 1. So the output of the IR sensor 1 is given to the first pin of the motor driving module. The first pin of the motor driving module is here. So you can see the 4 pins over here, the 4 pins over here. So I am taking the output, IR sensor output 1, and giving it to the first pin. So as you can see over here is the IR sensor 2 output. IR sensor 2 output is given to the first pin from the left side of the motor driving module. So I am doing the same. I am taking the wire and I am connecting it to the first pin of the IR of the motor driving module. So the connection of the IR sensor is done. So the next connection over here is, you can see, plus 5 volts, and it's shorted to the one and the second and the third pin. So for this, what we are doing is we are taking 2 jumper cables and we are connecting it. We are connecting it to the positive 5 volts on the each side. So we are taking the pin, we are connected to the second pin, and we are taking jumper cable, other end of the jumper cable, and connecting it to the plus 5 volts. So I'm taking another jumper cable and I'm connecting it to the third pin. And taking the other end of the jumper cable and giving it to the positive 5 volts. So now all the connections of the line following robot is done. So now let's see the working of a line following robot. So place the battery over here and you can see the adapter connections over here, and make sure the adapter goes like this. So the connection is done. Let's see how this thing works. So if I take my hand over here, the motor runs on the left hand side, and if I take my hand over here, the motor on the right hand side turns. But you can see the problem over here is it's running backwards. So what I have to do is just change the connections of this thing. I need to place this wire over here and I need to place this wire over here. So that's the basic thing which we have to do. So what I am doing here is I am interchanging the cables. So as you can see, the connections here is proper now. So what you have to do is before connecting the battery, what we have to do is make a chart with the line on it. I'll show you how the chart looks. So here is a sample demo chart which we have made using insulation tape and a white chart. So what we have to do is we need to place the robot over here and we need to make the robot go to according to the line which we have given, which the pattern is made. So now let's take the robot. We'll place the robot over here and we'll give the connection. So as you can see, the robot is working properly. It's following the line, it's following the pattern, and it's doing its job. So this is how a line following robot is made. Thank you.